So, ladies and gentlemen, are there any questions on Christianity and the pro-life movement and why Christians are pro-life, why Christians stand against abortion? Any questions at this point? So, ladies and gentlemen, there is an alternative to abortion. It's called adoption. As Christians, we want to see a society that strengthens the mechanism of adoption, that supports women in unwanted pregnancies to carry to term, and then allow those children to be adopted into loving families. Because of the lies of liberal secularism, more and more women are growing old childless, and they are deciding when it's too late in their natural cycle that they want to have children, but then they're finding that their fertility has dropped through the floor and that they can't have children. Why can we not marry up children that are not wanted by mothers to the want-to-be mothers who can't have children, so that we can save the lives of children and allow women that can't have children to find fulfillment in raising children that are otherwise unwanted? On Mike, can you come over here, bro? Over here. Don't come over here. Come in, guys. Don't let him push you out of the way. Guy thinks he owns the park. Adoption is an alternative to abortion. We do not have to be a country that kills 9 million of its own citizens every year. You want to know why there is mass uncontrolled emigration? It is because of abortion. Because since the 1970s, we have slaughtered tens of thousands of people in this country. Well, that decade after decade after decade genocide and slaughter is creating a deficit within the population of the United Kingdom that has to be replaced. And thus they use mass uncontrolled immigration to replace the population that we're not giving birth to, and all the problems that stem from that. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
I've heard some pro-choice people say that if a woman has abortion early enough, that it's not a life, it's just a group of cells.
Yeah.
And that, so you're not killing a life.
So let me ask you wise and intelligent people this question. If NASA found a single-celled living organism on Mars, put your hand up if you would agree that we have found life on Mars. Right. So how can we conclude that a single-celled life inside a mother's womb is anything other than life? The fact that an embryo for a very short period of time is a single-celled life does not change the fact that it is a life. And it isn't any other kind of life, it is human life. Which means that all the madhabs of Islam and all of the Islamic fiqh that say that you can abort a child before 120 days are all actually killing human life. Islamic law supports genocide and murder, just like liberal secular law supports genocide and murder. They are both degenerate systems of law. Any other questions? I'll take one more on this and I'll open it up to a more wider topic. You put your hand up first. You're conceding? Go on.
So bearing witness of these kind of pro-life marches is important, but what can men do in everyday life to represent the pro-life movement and represent ourselves as Christian men?
So what can Christian men do? You can man up and you can get involved in the pro-life movement. Men are affected by abortion just as much as women. I know men who are mourning the death of a child that they could not save because the British legal system doesn't even give them a voice over what happens to the child that they helped to create. Men are suffering because on this question of abortion, the law does not recognize that they have any right to speak at all. So men, you have an vested interest because you are actually discriminated against in British law because you are a man. And you must get involved in the pro-life movement and start your own campaign to have your voice recognized about the life that you create, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to be clear. I want a change in the law that means that men can't walk away from women that they get pregnant. If you get a woman pregnant, you should be legally responsible to look after that woman whilst ever she is looking after your child. And it does not matter whether you wanted the child or not. However, women, if you say that it's your body and your choice, then it's the man's money and their choice, and you have no claim to child support. We must have an equality in law, but it needs to include the life of the child as sacred and not something that is simply a disposable clump of cells. And just in case you're in any doubt, you are all just a clump of cells. Now I'm going to open up questions to any aspect of the Christian faith, our values, our traditions, our customs, our beliefs, our ethics, anything you like. This is your chance to ask a question, or it can be on abortion if you want to continue on that train of thought. Go on, bro.
What's the Islamic stance on abortion?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, Islam permits abortion. That means, as far as Christians are concerned, in Islamic law, they are in favor of murdering innocent children. So we'll have no lectures, thank you, about modesty and immodesty and the degenerate West and drinking alcohol. Thank you very much. Your legal systems support genocide and murder. However, Muslims have no agreement about when abortion is permitted or not, when it becomes stringent. Most Muslims agree that it's after 120 days or after 4 months. But there is a minority opinion amongst the Muslim community that to tamper with the life after 40 days is also haram. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the problem with that is that Islamic law contradicts itself. Those that advocate for 40 days are saying those that advocate for 120 days are doing something wrong. How can this be God's law? How can this be divine law when it doesn't even have a consensus of when life should be protected as human life? Ladies and gentlemen, in the ancient sources of Islam, they connected the idea of the sacredness of life as when it developed human features, hands, legs, a face, a beating heart, that came about after 120 days, they believed. But now, because of ultrasound, we know that a baby has many of these features after 6 weeks. So the very principles of Islamic fiqh are actually contradicted by the science, ladies and gentlemen. And don't even get me started on the Quran's errors on embryology. Any other questions on any aspect of the Christian faith or on the question of abortion? Sister, we're doing a Q&A on Christianity. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll answer the question, but I want to make it clear. I'm here to answer questions about Christianity. So, I perchance invite you to perhaps ask questions on that. However, to the question of adoption, Islam believes in fostering, but Islam does not believe in adoption. They don't believe in granting a child the legal status of a son to whom he was not born. Meaning that the child is denied the right to belong to a family as a son or a daughter. But what's really shocking is the reason behind this. Muhammad had a crush on his adopted son's wife. And because he had a crush on his adopted son's wife, the sock puppet god Allah sent down a special revelation saying that adoption was abolished. Meaning that Muhammad could marry his adopted son's wife because his son wasn't adopted. And so suddenly it became legal for him to marry his adopted son's wife. We Christians don't have any such beliefs because Christ was adopted by Joseph, and into the line of David he inherited all the rights and titles that came with that adoption. And because David and Christ are linked by that adoption, we Christians believe in total legal acceptance of full equality between the adopted son and the birth son of a family. So we give children a home, we give children life and love and a heritage and a sense of belonging. In other words, Christian principles around adoption are far superior to Islamic principles in their abolition of adoption. Any other questions about any aspect of the Christian faith, ladies and gentlemen?
In the Bible, it talks about sort of like turning the other cheek, and you put that into context about turning of the other cheek.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear. When our Lord talked about turning the other cheek, he gives a practical application of that interpretation. At his trial in the Gospel of John, the legionnaire slaps him on the right hand side, slaps him on the cheek. If Jesus believed that that teaching was literal, what would be the next thing that you should read in the Bible? That Jesus turns the other cheek, but he doesn't. He doesn't apply it literally, his own teachings. And that shows you that Jesus does not teach a literal interpretation of turn the other cheek. Christians can defend themselves. Christians can defend their brothers and sisters. We are not pacifists against aggressors. For instance, just today as I was coming in the park, I met a Christian brother who left Islam. He became a Christian. If that brother was to be attacked in this park for making that choice, every Christian would have the right to defend him. against the aggressors that would seek to persecute him. I'm going to do one more question, and then I'm going to go on to another topic, ladies and gentlemen. Go on, sister.
What happens to post-adoptions where children are snatched from parents? Non-consented adoptions. What's the position of Christianity on that?
Ladies and gentlemen, non-consensual adoption is in virtually all cases against the spirit of the Christian faith. And why is it against the spirit of the Christian faith? Because Christians believe that the family is the building block of society, ladies and gentlemen. It is the foundation stone upon which you build a society. If we do not support the idea of integral families, strong families, we see the corrosiveness that has happened in our liberal secular West, who has tried to build its society on individualism, ladies and gentlemen. As Christians, we believe that laws should build strong families. However, there are a minority of cases where the family is so dysfunctional that it can be a danger to the children. And in those exceptional and rare cases, it would be right for society to step in and to perform a non-consensual adoption, but only in the rarest and most extreme of circumstances and situations. Now, I'm going to give you a choice as my audience. If you would like me to continue with a question and answer, that's going to be a first choice.
All right.
If you'd like me to talk about another topic, that will be your second choice. So option 1 is a Q&A. Option 2 is a new topic. So put your hand up if you want option 1.
Option 1.
Put your hand up if you want option 2.
Option 2. Yeah, big up.
It's pretty much a split vote. So some of you didn't vote. Right. So since some of you didn't vote, I'm going to choose.
Okay.
And I'm going to choose by giving a new topic.